going on, everyone? Ben Raven with M Live's Lions Beat. Just wanted to check in, do a quick little post-game recap. Obviously, the big news coming out is those injuries to Sam Laporta and Khalif Raymond ahead of the postseason. Early reports with Laporta is that he's probably going to miss next week's game, but the NFL Network is reporting that he suffered a hyperextended knee and a bone bruise. That gives him at least a chance, whether it's next week, whether the Lions are lucky enough or whatever we want to call it, win a playoff game next week and move on to that divisional round. But it does sound like Sam Laporta and the Lions avoided catastrophic injury. I got nothing for you on the Khalif Raymond thing. I did have a photographer buddy in the tunnel while the game was going on was saying that he was unable to put any weight on his knee. He was using the rails, limping out of there, and obviously that looked bad with Raymond down on the field. And he's a do-it-all piece for this offense. He's an all-pro type return man. I mean, you guys saw how dangerous Raymond is. But, yeah, that's what we got now. Hyperextended knee, bone bruise is the report on Laporta. That's probably best-case scenario, to be completely honest with you. But, hey, the Lions played their starters, the full arsenal. They took that risk, and they came in here into Ford Field today, and they did what they said they wanted to do, and that was win this game, and that was go into the playoffs with 12 wins. That was give them an outside shot at that 2 seed. Now, for that to happen, they also needed the Cowboys and the Eagles to lose. Right now, the Cowboys taking care of business against the Washington Commanders, 28-10 midway through the third quarter. On the other side of that, if the Commanders can pull a little miracle, the Lions are still in the mix for that 2 seed because the Eagles are having a worse day than the Lions. A.J. Brown leaves with an injury. Jalen Hurts gets hurt, and they are losing to the New York Giants 24-0. Same mark midway through the third quarter there for Philly. But, yeah, the Lions in their regular season with 12 wins, match a franchise record with those 12 wins, 12-5. Division champs. They end Minnesota's season with 2 wins over them in 3 weeks. That's good. And what I saw from the offense today was positive. I thought Jared Goff had himself a really good game. The defense, obviously stud wide receivers have been destroying this group. Over the last 3 games, Jefferson and Lamb combined for like 3 touchdowns, 31 catches, and more than 500 yards on this group. But hey, the 2-1 probably should be 3-0. Wink, wink, asterisk Dallas game in that span. So something's working because they're finding ways to get pressure from the linebackers. They're finding ways to get pressure from the secondary. And Aiden Hutchinson is still creating pressures at an elite clip, but he's finishing the job. He had a sack taken away from him today, but then he got it back a couple minutes later. 10.5 sacks on the season. He's up there with the 3 highest pressure creators in the league. I mean, that's a second-year edge defender, and he's already playing. He's already showing that he's got more room to grow because that trick play takedown, whatever you want to call it, a sack or a tackle for loss on Justin Jefferson, that is a smart play. I mean, he saw that coming. He saw Jefferson coming around, and he ran a straight line and met him at the point where he wanted to throw that ball. And that's a stud player making a stud play. And same for Amon-Ra St. Brown. The Vikings strike. They bring it within a touchdown, and St. Brown gets hurt, takes a knee. More on St. Brown. St. Brown was gold after the game. Taylor Decker and Dan Skipper were gold after the game in the locker room. I'll finish on that. But, yeah, St. Brown, 1,500-plus yards on the season, hits 10 touchdowns, and he's still hot about that Pro Bowl snub because, he looked us in the eye, and he's like, I don't know how many 1,500-yard receivers and 10 touchdown catchers don't make the Pro Bowl, so I guess I got to look that up. And he teased he had personal goals set before the season, and he hit those goals. He said the personal goals he had for himself, statistically wise, 1,500 yards, 10 touchdowns, he did it. And we joke around all the time, but that's the last guy in that locker room that needs more chips on his shoulder. Harrison Phillips, the Vikings defensive tackle, I don't know if you guys saw the video or the replays or whatever, how you saw it, put his 307-pound force behind his knee when he got up from the field. I'm not going to sit here and say it was intentional or not, but St. Brown felt it was intentional. He got asked about it. He straight up said, I don't know what 97 was on. That was intentional. It is what it is. But 2 or 3 plays later, after missing 1 snap, St. Brown gets wide open, catches a 70-yard touchdown, weaves and bobs in and out of traffic to score the touchdown. Big play, big-time player, just tough as nails too. But, yeah, just and St. Brown with a nice little detail on there. He said all week they had been practicing with him on the inside and Reynolds on the outside, and they swapped it when they were running on the field for that play, and, hey, it worked. That was big time. But, yeah, St. Brown's definitely hot about that Pro Bowl snub. He was not loving Harrison Phillips' knee to his chest or stomach or whatever, but he said he's good. He's good to go. No worries on him. But and Taylor Decker and Dan Skipper, after last week's debacle in Dallas, when the officials completely dropped the ball, I'll just be straight up with it. It wasn't controversial. The officials dropped the ball in Dallas last week. I'm with y'all on that one. Decker said the head ref was being great all day. He was making jokes about it. He was being lighthearted. And Dan Skipper straight up said it was refreshing to feel like you were dealing with a human. So, like, they were having some fun today with all the eligible reporting calls. I mean, every time the PA number 70 reporting is eligible was like giant pops in here, giant cheers. So great work, everyone, all around. But yeah, it's we're kind of just sitting up here going through the post game stuff, doing the usual routine. We'll record that Dungeon of Doom podcast here pretty soon, but the attention turns to the playoffs, and that's exciting stuff. The Lions will host a playoff game this time next week. There will be a playoff game going on behind me right there, so I can't wait for that. It was a great crowd in here. We'll see who they play, but yeah, it's looking like they're going to be that 3 seed. It is looking like they're going to be that 3 seed. I can't envision the Cowboys losing to the Commanders. So hey, they went out and tried to get it. Laporta got hurt. Raymond got hurt. Branch returned after a wrist injury, so that's positive. And I mean, it does sound like it's best case in Laporta. At least it wasn't a torn ACL. At least it wasn't a torn MCL or any broken, dislocated stuff or like that. We'll get the full report with Dan Campbell tomorrow afternoon. But if you missed the beginning, NFL Network is reporting it's a bone bruise and hyperextended knee. That's easy, best case scenario for sure. We'll see on Khalif Raymond, but I'm no doctor. I'm no athletic trainer, but that didn't look good. That didn't sound good. And that's a tough break. That really is a tough break because what he brings in the return game is hard to replace. What he brings is just a heavy hitter who hits above his weight class. That's hard to replace because that's what Raymond is. He's an all-around producer for this team who always hits above his weight class, and it kind of sucks that looks like he's going to miss the playoffs because that's a guy reinvented himself, true journeyman when he came to Detroit. He made himself a bona fide pro, so my heart goes out to him for sure. We'll see the report on that. But yeah, there's, the Lions can clean it up in the secondary. They're getting big plays. They're getting field flipping plays, CJ Gardner-Johnson comes back, ends the game with an interception today. Melifon was still playing great, had some great moments today. Cam Sutton coming up with the opportune interception in the fourth quarter. They're getting slashed by these star receivers, but they're getting the takeaways. They're making the plays. The pressure is there. Aleem McNeil looks like Aleem McNeil today. That's great news for that defensive line. You see Hutchinson get home today. You see Hutchinson have the day he had today. A lot of that is him, natural born killer, no doubt about it. But having Aleem McNeil actually making the defense account for somebody else in the trenches, that's a big get. And just you got to give the interior defender his love because I mean he does so much for this defense. We don't know who they play yet. We're waiting for that too. The Rams are losing to the Niners right now. I think I saw the Packers were beating the Bears. The one to watch is obviously if the Cowboys choke away a lead against the Commanders because that would potentially move them up to the 2 seed. But that's it. I got to get back to writing. We got a podcast to do. Thank you guys for tuning in. Playoffs next week. Playoffs. Can you believe it? I'm still having a hard time believing it. But Ben Raven signing off. Thank you guys. We'll have more at mlive.com/Lions. I already got my Amon-Ra St. Brown is hot post up. Kyle's got some good stuff coming. Corey Woods has got some stuff on Justin Jefferson out of the Minnesota locker room. And we'll be here in a little bit recording a podcast from the radio booth here up high at Ford Field. But for now, I'm going to get out of here. Thank you guys. Regular season in the books. The season's not over yet. That's what I kept telling myself. For 5 years, the next day was locker room cleanout day. Guess what? Get to cover playoff football. That's exciting. It's exciting for me. It's exciting for you guys. It's exciting for everybody. But I'm going to get out of here. Thank you guys so much. Dungeon of Doom podcast, Dungeon of Doom Insider Text. Check us out. All that information's in every post we put up on mlive.com/Lions.